And so over the past year, we've been able to actually accomplish some results. And I think results really speak for themselves. I think that it's contagious in a way in which the team starts to understand, if I do this, we will see this. And then it becomes a bit of like a winning game. And I think winning is really fun, and results, kind of tie back to that. So I think in addition to learning and listening, there's also a fair amount of action and results that need to happen as well.
This week on the Courageous Podcast, we had an old friend, Katie Babineau, join us. She's currently the global head of marketing for Snap Lab at Snap Inc. and has a long history of working for some great global brands, and has made a point to try to stay in San Diego, which is awesome. I mean, Berman, you and I both have a love for this place.
Yeah, if I could stay here the rest of my life. And I think actually with COVID, it's clear that virtual is here to stay. So maybe we'll get lucky. But Katie, she's been able to work on Sony and GoPro, Apple, and now Snapchat. It's been awesome to see how versatile she's been. And that versatility is like, she's been in PR, she's been in social media, she's been in global marketing. She's really done a lot of things. Now even at Snap, she's running innovation.
Yeah, we talk a lot about just what it's like to grow and lead teams and stay innovative and hungry. And really also just, she shared how she's found places where her personal values have aligned with the company values. And I think that's really important. And she's lucky to be in the position that she's in now at Snap. It sounds like a great fit for her.
She's earned it. I mean, if you think about the brands that she's been in, and I think one of the things you'll hear is we deliberately asked her, like, how deliberate have you been on your path to getting here? And she's like, kind of just going with it. So my favorite part, by the way, of the whole podcast was her talking about how her values and Snap aligned on being smart, kind, and creative. I really think this is a great podcast to listen to for anyone that's trying to work their way up the ladder, think through how to stay versatile, but also ultimately land at a company that really honors your values. We are joined today on the Courageous Podcast with Katie Babineau, who is the global head of marketing at Snapchat, where she's leading global marketing and brand for Snap. And I think you're doing a ton of innovation work there. But before we pass this over to you, this is so nice for us all to be back together, because it's been 8 years where the three of us walked the same halls. And Katie, first of all, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's fun. Gave me a reason to actually put on makeup and real clothes today. So happy to be here.
Do you miss Ryan and I at all?
Oh, I do. I do.
I don't believe you. So just to be really clear, by the time you and I met, which was a merge of two companies. And by the way, that was Ryan Thompson's fault, because Ryan was the guy I went to lunch with and said, am I making a mistake, or is this a good idea? And for the record, I don't think it was a mistake. I think it was a good move for all parties involved. But we rebrand, and 3 months later, you're like, get me, I'm out of here.
Was it that quick?
Absolutely not. First of all, I had been there for a couple years. So the merge happened well into my time there. I had a great time at Bailey Gardner and IDEA, and I learned a ton, and I got to work with both of you. So it was great.
I didn't realize it was that fast. I mean, you scared her, Berman.
I think I did. Let's just call a spade a spade. Because Carrie Jones was gone pretty soon too, right?
Oh, no. Much love. And I loved working with everyone there. It's good times.
All right. Well, she's here. She came back. That's cool.
I mean, you have me now. I don't know how long I'm going to stay after this intro, but.
All right. So let's talk about your journey a little bit. I mean, it's been pretty awesome to watch. Before Snap, you were at Apple. And before Apple, I believe you spent a stint at, it's longer than a stint, you were at GoPro. And I think you did some time at Sony as well. So I love the fact that you like how versatile you are. You started in agency land, you learned, and really you were focused, I think, at that time, like PR, just the beginning of social. And then you jump into DTC a little bit, Sony, you jump into social influencer at GoPro, marketing at Apple, innovation at Snap. It feels pretty, I mean, you're super versatile. Was this like a deliberate jump from space to space to space?
Actually not. So I feel a little odd saying that, but I think, my journey has been all about kind of building on what I didn't learn in the phase ahead. So for me, I'm really driven by curiosity and challenge. And so there's always been in the next phase of my career something that was missing or something that I knew I would be able to learn and grow. So that for me has always been the driver. But I'd say in terms of intention, my goal was always, how do I stay in San Diego and work with global brands? That was like kind of the criteria. And from there, was able to obviously have the opportunity to really work with some amazing brands. Like you said, I started in PR and then grew from there. So, have evolved into more of a marketing role now, went both agency and in-house. So yeah, it's been quite the journey.
A lot of people will sacrifice some things, to jump at an opportunity. How did you decide, that staying in San Diego was important? Let's take that one, but still like be able to find opportunities to work with global brands. Like, do you have any stories on like how you went from Sony to GoPro to now Snap and we're still able to manage to stay where you wanted to stay?
Yeah, I mean, for quite some time, and I'll just actually correct you because for the past 2 years, I've been commuting to LA. So
Okay.
I made the jump at some point, 2 years ago. Now, obviously, I've been working remotely, which has been very nice. But for the past 2 years, definitely took the risk to take the job with Media Arts Lab to work with Apple, and that's kind of where I made that decision to, make the sacrifice and leave San Diego on a day-to-day basis. But for me, it was mostly around in the beginning of my career, how can I stay and continue to build roots in San Diego? And my husband's a high school principal, so he was building roots in his career, and that was important for us to be able to give him some time to do that. And so I always looked for global brands that might be, relevant locally, and GoPro was an amazing experience and opportunity to do that. Sony as well. I mean, one of the biggest consumer electronic brands in the world, based US in San Diego. So just kind of did my research. But through that journey, it's all been through the relationships I've made along the way. So, met Callan and Maya at Bailey Gardner. They left, went to Sony, provided me with the opportunity to go and work with them there. From there, made the more random jump to GoPro through recruiting. But I still keep in touch with, those people that I've worked closely with. And so I think relationships has been super important for that journey as well.
Yeah, relationships are critical, right? Like, one, because when you develop a deep relationship, you really truly understand what like drives a person. But two, it's about trust. So how have those helped you like more recently in your career? I mean, GoPro, I'm sure you learned a ton, and to get to Media Arts and work with a brand like Apple and now Snap, what are some of the big relationships that helped you get to a big global role like what you're doing now?
Yeah, I mean, I think early on it was really, really beneficial. It helped me get my foot in the door at Sony. Once I had the experience at Sony working with a global brand, I think from there built the actual experience I needed to get more of the kind of the random recruiting that happened thereafter. But even in my role within, GoPro and the time that I was there, worked really closely with a lot of the teams to help grow community. And we were doing that at a global scale. I joined GoPro at a time where they had just gone public. We were scaling internationally really quickly and needed to ramp up social marketing and community around the globe. So built a lot of relationships with creators and athletes there that, I've continued to work with as I progressed into Media Arts Lab and working with Apple and now at Snap as well. So even on the, on non-colleague front, some of the relationships that I've built have kind of carried on each phase.
Let's talk about your relationship with San Diego. Because I think we all, and again, I think if you're a national listener, you're like, well, San Diego to be this like beach town, but obviously all of us, there's a love for this city. I always felt like if Austin and Boulder had a baby, that is the potential for the market, but it's never really like 15 years. It really hasn't like lived up to that. And now you sort of had to surrender a little bit to go commute up to LA. What is the commute schedule look like and the starters? And then I'd love to hear your relationship with San Diego.
Yeah. I'd say my relationship with San Diego has gone through ups and downs, but we're now in a really solid place. So, quarantine has given me a ton of perspective, I'm sure with a lot of other listeners out there, but I'm right now just super thankful to be in a city where I can go spend some time at the beach, go be at the mountains and work remotely in a place that's really beautiful that I love. So I feel very, very appreciative right now to be here. I can't say that I've always felt that, just because there is a struggle with connecting to the global market as it relates to the industry that I'm in, that we're in. And so I did have to make that sacrifice and chose to make it a couple years ago. And I was doing the commute every day. So I tried not to think about the hours of time spent in a car, but if you add it all up, I mean, it's 5 hours in a day that I now have back in my life. So super thankful for that. And it's been an interesting time.
Yeah. And I think I'm so much more productive going from living on a plane, which is what I was doing, and you were living in a car. But do you feel, I feel inspired by like the fact that I have access to the beach, or I'm inspired by going on a hike with my kids now. And do you feel like that translates into your work, or like once you leave San Diego, you've left San Diego and you're going up and doing what you need to do?
I do think it does give me perspective. I think it gave me perspective even when I was commuting. The weekends were such a pivotal time for me just to unplug, relax. And so I think having access to the outdoors and the beach and just sheer kind of mellow, chill vibes on the weekend really helped me to get reset for the week ahead. And so I'm thankful for that, for sure. But yeah, it didn't take away from those hours on the road. But I think the way that we work moving forward will be forever changed. So I'm hopeful that coming out of this, that we've all realized we don't need to be on a plane every week. We don't need to necessarily be in person to get it done. So hopefully we'll be able to kind of evolve coming out of this.
I do want to ask, so you're like celebrating a 1-year anniversary pretty much at Snap.
Yeah, celebrated in June. So over a year now, and have loved every minute of it. I'm so glad that I made the jump. And, at the time it was a tough decision and wasn't really something that I thought I'd end up taking and doing. But I'm so, so happy and love the team and the people that I work with. So happy that I did it.
What made you make the jump?
Well, for a majority of my working life, I had been really focused on digital, social, and kind of a pocket of marketing, and felt at that time that I really wanted to evolve my thinking and learn more about kind of integrated marketing, brand marketing. And so this role is specifically head of marketing for Snap Lab, which is the innovation hub within Snap Inc. So the combination of having experience working in hardware, consumer electronics, but also wanting to take on more of a holistic marketing role was really what was the kind of the final convincing point. At the time, I was just kind of ramping up in my current role, and it was a tough decision to leave, but I'm just so happy that, I am where I am now. And I think it was a really positive step forward.
What do you think? What do you think's going on in the content space right now with COVID? What are you seeing? I mean, you're a little bit closer to it than most, and how much is it being affected? Are you seeing just different types of content, more content, and then how's that apply to what you're doing in your role now?
Yeah, I mean, Snap obviously is a leader in vertical content, vertical video, and so mobile entertainment, I think, is a really interesting space right now. We've seen a really like a pretty significant increase in daily active users and usage within the app. Inevitably, people are at home, but they still want to connect with their loved ones. They still want to explore and be creative. So naturally, like that's been a benefit for Snap and our community during this time. I will say that it has really, really almost kind of made us fast forward a bit on innovation, knowing that our community has such a need for the platform right now, and that we're seeing positive trends of daily usage. We really want to make sure that we're continuing to add value and bring new premium content to them on a daily basis. So it's been a great opportunity, and we're happy to see that the community is really, really, diving in, but hasn't really been slow moving at any point during quarantine. So definitely been moving pretty quickly.
I have to imagine this is your time to shine. Like everybody's stuck at home and curiously looking on their phone for things to do. And I imagine it's affected your business in a fairly positive way. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, we've seen pretty significant growth and usage in the app. And for our community, that's mostly Gen Z. So young community base, they're at home. They still want to connect with their friends. They're still using the app pretty significantly throughout the day. And so we want to be able to provide more value as we're seeing increase in usage, which the team's been hyper focused on. My side of the business is focused on innovation and hardware innovation, kind of the future of Snap, which is really exciting. But we've also recognized the value that our hardware products can bring to people right now, and capture in unique shared experiences. So that's been fun as well. And just like the challenge of building from home has been cool to see the team really rally.
Yeah. What's the team like? I'm always, and I guess in full disclosure, I should say I have met a few of your teammates, and I did get to speak at an offsite at Snap, and this was before your time. So I think David Brinker's still there.
Yep.
Yeah. And what's the team like? Are they just kind of rolling with the punches with the pandemic? And I'm assuming you're liking the relationships that you're building there.
Yeah, I would say, Snap is such a values-driven company. And so for me, I've only been there for just over a year, but I feel very invested in where we're going. And when I joined, I mean, the brand's definitely been through ups and downs. And when I joined, I think we were just getting the right executive team. I have my boss, Kenneth Mitchell, is absolutely amazing, and he came in around the same time I did. So I feel very fortunate to be a part of Snap today, and knowing like where we want to go. I will say that some of the values that we really lean into: smart, kind, and creative. So pretty much everything we do, down to like performance reviews, down to product builds, it all rallies around the notion of being kind, smart, and creative.
I love that. Is that the order? Is it smart, kind, creative, or kind, smart? Like, what's the order?
Yeah, I mean, we like to think that creative is definitely the top of the list, being so innovation focused. But I think it really allows a flexible framework for the organization to truly understand. When we hire, those are key principles that we look to. When we create work, those are key principles that we really look to. So I feel that even during this time, the organization is pulled together even tighter because we're so aligned on those values. So it's been cool to see.
That's so cool. I want to get to just like why that's important personally to you, and maybe why some of that shared experience is what brings the team together. But I was poking around on Snap's site, and they have this Citizen Snap report. And on that page, it says, at Snap, we contribute to human progress by empowering people to express themselves, live in the moment, learn about the world, and have fun together. I mean, that's just a wonderful statement. And do you believe the brand is living that?
For sure. I mean, I haven't felt this close to a brand since I was working with GoPro.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of parallels, I think, in having, a founder-led company that where you get to kind of live and breathe the actual vision of the product with the founder and CEO still in place. So I feel really fortunate to have that opportunity again. And yeah, that's our mission. I mean, we are that is across so much of our work and everything that we do. So it's definitely something that I'm bought into. And I think, we're all kind of marching towards.
Yeah, Bourbon and I have been talking a lot about that. And I work for a founder-led brand as well. So I understand. I mean, when you have someone like that still in the company, a visionary that just understands the DNA and is looking towards the future and really steering the ship, that can be super powerful. And you said you brought into it. I mean, you're helping steer this now too, I assume. But I remember watching some of your content from GoPro, and it just seemed like you were having so much fun, working for that brand. And Snap seems like it fits with you and your personality perfectly. So how important is that when you're able to kind of meld those two things together? Because you've had many experiences. You've been on the agency side, you've been on the client side, you've worked across a ton of different brands. But how critical is that to actually getting back to being smart, kind, and creative?
Yeah, I think it's really important for me specifically. What I've learned is I love the global brand that's going into growth mode. So we're at a similar stage in which GoPro was at when I joined GoPro. Similar in terms of company size and where we're going. So I personally feel really attached to the mission, but also attached to the day-to-day output that I'm able to contribute to. So I feel, it's a really good sized company to be able to drive daily impact, which for me is really important. So, I've found that is kind of where I thrive and where I want to be moving forward is in that size company and a company that's really brand value led, and that it's very clear in kind of how people approach work.
Are you working directly with Evan at all?
Yeah, we the one of the beautiful things about Snap is that he is very, very approachable, and at every level of the organization, there's kind of a direct line into him. Obviously, there's more of a kind of a structured review cadence in place, but feel very fortunate to be able to work directly with him, and obviously, through the Snap Lab model. Since it's our innovation hub, get to work very closely with him and my boss, Kenneth Mitchell, who has a ton of great experience as well, coming from McDonald's and Gatorade. And so I've learned a ton from both of them, and providing that perspective was really important for me as well.
I think, so the last time you and I saw each other was life before COVID. We had breakfast in Vegas. I think it was during CES. And I think you told me that you and your boss started on the same day.
Yeah, we did. So he interviewed me before I began, just to make sure that stamp of approval was there. So luckily I passed. And then, we started on the same day.
Well, that's got to be like a nice connection, like super friends going into this thing together, even though, do you feel that way? Like you're like a team?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, it's been cool to just see how much the brand has evolved over the past year. Our marketing team, Kenny came in and really built up a world-class marketing organization. We're still going, and we still have a long way to go. But I feel very fortunate to be be a part of that, and to have also just seen and observed kind of how he's come in and helped grow the team, which it's been fun.
So I just want to go back to kind of, again, like the progression in your journey in your career. So, I mean, you've jumped up the ladder fairly quickly by, working for some great brands. And I know just personally, from my growth my growth in my career, you get put into these situations sometimes where you don't know everything, or you're leading teams, and it can be uncomfortable. So I'm just curious, like, as you've taken on these new roles, have you ever felt like unsure or nervous about what you were doing? And then, like, what do you do to combat that? I mean, I know that I deal with some of that insecurity sometimes, but everybody puts on this, facade and face like, they got it handled. But I'm sure that happens when you're jumping into a new company, a big role, lots of responsibility, and just curious about how you've thought about that and if it's affected you at all.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think my biggest risk going into this role that I'm in now was knowing that there was a lot that I would be learning. And so I've always asked questions, and also just like called it. When I don't know, I don't know. And so I've focused a lot on building relationships with the people who do know, and understanding like who to go to when I need support or help. So I think, and I hope, for the rest of my career, that I'm continuing to progress and challenge myself. So hopefully this won't be the last job in which I have an opportunity to learn more, but I think having the mindset of a curious mindset and asking questions and actually just like rolling up my sleeves to do the work and learn the work as well.
Yeah, I think like the old guard was like the leader had to know everything, right? Or that was the expectation. And kind of the changing here is servant leadership, and you don't have to know everything, but you have to inspire people. And so just curious, like, you've obviously been learning and listening, which is super critical, but what else do you use for inspiration? How do you inspire your team? How do you keep everyone motivated and kind of charging towards that path to innovation?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right in that listening and observing is super important, but I also got to snap, and there was a lot of work that needed to be done. So I think I've built trust over the past year with the team simply by coming in to help provide some leadership where there needed to be leadership and structure and infrastructure built out. And so over the past year, we've been able to actually accomplish some results. And I think results really speak for themselves. I think that it's contagious in a way in which the team starts to understand, if I do this, we will see this. And then it becomes a bit of like a winning game. And I think winning is really fun, and results, kind of tie back to that. So I think in addition to learning and listening, there's also a fair amount of action and results that need to happen as well.
So if Katie 1.0, like if you were able to go back and talk to Katie 1.0, what would you tell her as Katie 3.0 or 4.0 or whatever version you're on now?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would tell her not to take this whole thing too seriously. I've had a lot of fun, and I think that fun and results can go hand in hand. So I think, early on I was really focused on kind of planning and having a set plan, but at times my career has felt random, and I don't want to take away from the work that I put into it or this, that, and the other. But sometimes having an open mindset can get you a long way. So I think I would probably try to tell myself that a little more.
Do you feel like you've been like really intense about the path for you?
I think in the beginning, what was stressful was knowing that I was in a market that was pretty small in terms of where I wanted to go. So I think I spent a lot of time thinking in the beginning of my career around, how will I make this work? How will I stay in San Diego, but get to work, with big global growing brands. And so I think that was it in the beginning. But now that I've had the opportunity to experiment and work with some really, really cool brands and work, I'm kind of like, where we go from here is cool. And I'm really happy where I'm at. And I think that helps as well, to take some of the pressure off.
I interpret random is you're actually just staying present. And so what changed in maybe like your head that got you to go from needing to have a plan to just being able to live with what was going on and what was being presented to you?
Yeah, I think it was a really authentic connection with the brand in the moment that allowed me to be in the moment. Because when I got to GoPro, I became so attached to the work and the people. I was just focused on doing the best that we possibly could do for the brand at that time. And so because of that, we were just focused on getting the job done. And so with that, then, I think good opportunity presents itself as you accumulate results, as you accumulate the work, then I think naturally, some next steps followed. So I think just working with brands that you believe in or a company that you believe in can go a long way in terms of investment and producing really quality work.
It's everything. I mean, we keep coming back to this, like belief is the currency. Like when you believe and the team believes, like anything is possible, the potential is through the roof. And when people don't believe or you don't believe, because it's okay. Like you may be in a place where you don't believe it, productivity drops, you don't want to be there, the energy changes. And like a lot of conversations that we're actually having right now is on the courageous side, is like the feeling side of the business. Like how do we make sure we bring the smarts, but we bring the feel and the soul? And, I guess this is a nice way to ask, like, do you feel like the feel is there at Snapchat? And obviously it's clear you have the feel for the place.
Yeah, I think so. I think we've kind of turned a corner, and even, in our hiring and onboarding, you can definitely feel there's passion and people are really fired up and on a mission to innovate, to bring joy and really focus on bringing value to the community. So I'm certainly feeling it.
So I have not shared this yet with the team, like our team, like one of the things I was playing around with, but like the importance of feeling the biz, like feel the biz, but then also biz the feel, like find the thing and biz the feel and bring some of that into the mix as well. Cause it's important. They're both just as important as far as I'm concerned.
By biz, break that down for me.
To me, it's just like, don't be afraid to unlock the creative feeling part of the business. Cause without emotion, you're not going to move anybody. And if you're not moving anybody, you're not going to move your product. You're not going to make the changes. And so to me, I think biz the feel is that. It's like, don't be afraid to bring that front and center versus suppress it.
Yeah. I think that's completely fair. And especially in this time, the consumer's mindset is like, we don't have time for bullshit marketing campaigns. Like there should be some sort of purpose or meaning behind what your brand is saying, or else you shouldn't really be saying anything. So I think, where we're at, where the world is at right now is like, we need some meaningful, purpose-driven marketing.
What's your, I guess I have to ask, like, what's your take on TikTok and like everything that they're doing? Are you keeping an eye on what they're doing? Do you like what they're doing?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. To me, it's more about the mindset and the behavior. And I think what they've done obviously is an amazing job at democratizing storytelling and making it easy for people to share their vision and get the audience that they wouldn't have on any other platform because of the matured algorithms and all of that we know so well. So I think it's really interesting. Obviously, for me, it's more about the behavior and the motivation behind what's driving the consumption and the creation at the rapid pace. So I think that is really interesting. And yeah, we'll see where everything goes.
What are some of the things, if you can share, that that you're working on that's getting you really excited right now at Snap Lab?
Yeah. Well, I get really excited about the future of augmented reality, and that's a lot of what I'm working on at the lab, but also in partnership with the rest of the main org. So, I'm excited to see and learn how consumers are using AR in their daily life. I think, we have one of the most engaged AR communities in the world. About 75% of our daily active users are using AR on a daily basis because we've explored it in a way that's creative, that's fun, that just seamlessly fits into your life. Not many people realize, but like the lenses and the filters that you're seeing on Snapchat obviously are AR, right? So people are using it, but not necessarily knowing that they're using AR. So I get excited to see the technology progress in a way that will continue to provide both that like creative exploration, but also a little bit of utility as we're seeing AR explore with commerce and so on and so forth. So I think that's really exciting.
Yeah, I've heard, technology and like the innovation that happens in technology is somewhat driven just by the human imagination.
Yeah.
Like that's why like a lot of the technology kind of follows what you see in the movies, because it's just us imagining where this can go. And just wondering, like, in your head, being that you're in this position now, where are you thinking AR goes? Like what happens next? What's the big leap if you're
Yeah.
going to take a guess at it?
So what's new for me in thinking about AR is thinking about it in the next like 2 to 3 years, and then thinking about it in the next 5 to 10 years. So in the near future, we've already seen AR kind of creep into the world of commerce. And especially now, as in a COVID world, allowing people and shoppers to try on shoes, to try on outfits, and understand, even I'm sure real estate, there are ways that AR can help drive commerce forward. So I think what's really exciting in the near term future is the actual business value that AR will bring and is bringing today. In 5 to 10 years, what we're banking on, and a lot of other big tech is predicting, is that we'll go from mobile AR to a wearable AR experience. And so that is like, a little bit further out, but I think that the core challenge of seeing the consumer adopt the wearable use case is going to be really, really interesting as well.
And do you think, like, I'll just call it AR commerce, our commerce? I love my sub brands. Can't help it. Like, are you heavily entrenched in that arena right now?
So Snap is, yeah. And I think there's a lot of value that we're bringing to businesses and brands on the B2B side. And so there will be progression there. I think, in my world, we are definitely focused at lab kind of 5 to 7 years out. So we are, exploring the future use cases and where we might go in the future long term.
So I sort of grabbed this quote about you from your LinkedIn profile.
Oh, okay.
You ready? So this is someone at Google who you used to work with at GoPro. She said, Katie is an extremely smart, strategic, and fearless leader. And obviously we're talking about courage here. Do you see yourself as a fearless leader?
I think I'm transparent. I think that I lead with transparency. And so that has pushed me to take risks and be really honest in my approach. Whether that takes courage, I don't know. To me, it's kind of like the right thing to do. But it's awesome to hear that.
No, but I agree with her quote, and I agree with your rationale. But it's sort of sad that being real, like just by being real, is now the version of being courageous. Like, in saying, like, what, I don't have the answer. Like Ryan, you were talking about earlier, and just being real and being transparent is the path to being like a courageous leader. Do you feel that to be a truth for you?
I think it will become an expectation. I think we're shifting mentalities a bit, even real time, as we're all working from home in a COVID world. and you really can't hide anything. And so I think we will transition into a place in which hopefully leaders feel comfortable admitting that they don't have all the answers and being transparent as much as they can with the team, so that the team feels that there is trust there and that there is, kind of a mutually beneficial relationship there. So I'm hopeful that that becomes the expectation at some point.
So you may not want to answer this one, or you might, but if you could pick, I mean, because we know you're very happy with what you're doing right now, but if you could pick somewhere where your career goes next, if you had that plan back again, what would that look like? What's Katie going to do in the future?
Oh, wow. I don't know. I think it's hard to predict. I always kid around with my dear friends, Callan and Maya, who I met at Bailey Gardner, that like one day we'll all just work together again, and all of my favorite people who I've ever worked with in my career will find a way to like build the dream team and the dream job. And, maybe in years and years down the road, we'll be able to make that happen.
From San Diego.
Exactly.
Full circle. Well, yeah. Honestly, it's been like, I love watching what you're doing, and I know you know this. It's just, I root for you. We root for you. And like, I wish I could have more of your time, because I always learn something from you. And then like, obviously we're not getting together now in person, but it's just been cool to watch your curiosity pay off for you as you continue to do what you do. And, and deep down, it would be awesome for you to build something in this market, because, I just want this market to win. Like, I think it's like, if our business is only about choices, how is this not a bad choice? Like, how is choosing San Diego and starting something in San Diego, other than the taxes and the money and all that stuff, but like, who doesn't want to be part of this community? So maybe we can work together again in the future. This is my way of like asking for an internship position.
Yeah, our retirement, it'll be, we'll figure it out. We've got some time to figure it out. But, and thank you to both of you too, because it's not lost on me that I was just, back in the day, you two taught me a ton, and I am where I am because of everything that I've learned along the way. So definitely appreciate both of you as well.
Oh boy, we're blushing. I'll go get your coffee now.
Katie Babineau, thanks for joining us on the Courageous Podcast. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you.
Next week on the Courageous Podcast, we're joined by the CEO of Charity Water, Scott Harrison.
If you enjoyed the episode, please give us 5 stars, subscribe, and leave us a comment.